Hey guys, this is Jim from the Pain PT, and today we're going to talk about creating a space for your symptoms and feelings and emotions to be expressed. And we're going to go over what this means and how you can do this to help your symptoms and your feelings move through you and have a form of expression. So, when I say you want to create a space, is you're trying to create a container or an open space, okay, that's big as it can be, to allow the expression of what's going on in yourself. Okay, now there's a lot of space out there. Okay, we know even quantum physics that we're just made of space, 98, 99% space. And if you look around you, in your room, wherever you are, you'll see there's tons of open space. There's air, there's just nothing. Now, in that space is what? It's just still, it's quiet, it's stillness. I want you guys to be that space, not the object in the space. As humans, we're so conditioned to focus on and become what's in our space, what's happening. We become that, or we become attuned to that. We look for that. Okay, we look for objects. One of the objects that we look for is pain. We look for a sensation. It catches our attention. We hone in on it. We focus on it. A symptom or an uncomfortable emotion, possibly. And when we do that, we do the opposite of creating space. We actually shrink it down into this compressed area where that becomes our focus point and nothing else exists. So if you're trapping your symptom in here with your mind, there's no space for it to move or shift or change. Okay, it's only when you can zoom out and get quiet and hold the space. Okay, this is another thing of holding the space that you've created for yourself, for what's happening in your space. Okay, and in that holding the space, there's things happening, different sensations, feelings in your body. As we talked about before, we want to allow all of those sensations to just run their course, to be expressed. Okay, we want to let those sensations flow. Okay, and we want to make as large of a space as we can, create as much room as we can for these symptoms and feelings and emotions to have an expression. They'll go easier. Okay, so this is dropping in the mind resistance to what you feel. It's dropping reaction to what you feel. Okay, it's actually just relaxing into what you feel that creates the space. And when you relax, what happens is you're settling, soothing, calming down your brain and your nervous system. Okay, and that also is activating your mindful centers of your brain, which cause your amygdala to slow down, calm down. And you'll notice if you do this for a while that things should start to settle down. Okay, so when you hold the space, you're tapping into mindfulness, stillness, openness, awareness. Okay, you're becoming that presence that just is. There's nothing there, so there's no judgment. There's no sort of opinion, and especially not a negative opinion or judgment on what you feel. Okay, it is what it is. So you're just allowing what's in the space to arise freely. The more you can just be still and open where you're not even your body anymore, you're just a vast space that's actually infinite. It's infinite space, just like outer space, which is basically stillness. So we talked about this before about letting things settle, letting the dust settle. But when you can become an open, still space and you hold that space, everything in that space will eventually become that as well, will become still. As long as you can hold it long enough and not interject with a lot of brain activity or resistance or reaction to what you're experiencing. Okay, so it's a form of relaxation. It's a form of presence, a practice of mindfulness. Okay, it's tapping into what we call stillness. And it's really, it feels really good to do this. Okay, now at first it may not feel good because when you open up and you create space, you're going to notice that there's a lot of stuff potentially coming up. It's sort of like if you stuffed a lot of things in your closet at home and you shut the door, now you've opened the door, all the stuff comes piling out of the closet. It's like what's stored in your body will potentially surface if you open to it. But we want that. Remember, that's a good thing. That's a good thing. We're interpreting this as being good. Okay, this is a positive thing that's happening. Okay, so when we again think about this, when you guys are doing your somatic practices or you're opening up to what you feel, I want you to remember to hold the space, to create this big space. Okay, the other way to think about this is to want to become the sky. Okay, you want to be the sky that allows the clouds to pass through it. Okay, so allowing the clouds to pass through the sky means that you're not doing anything to these clouds of symptoms or sensations or feelings. All you're doing is holding the space for them, and they will pass on their own. They will pass just like clouds pass. Okay, so I want you guys to hold the sky space. You can even imagine it. And whatever's happening in the space are just clouds passing through. Okay, you should notice as you open up and hold this large space that things start to change and shift and move in you, which is what we want. They start to unwind and unfold and unravel. Okay, the keys are that you're not resisting or reacting to what you feel. It's very good that you do this. You don't want to ever stop or try to fight or flee your symptoms or sensations because you're not going to get anywhere. Okay, maybe short term you might succeed, but in the long run you're going to return. You have to accept them and allow them and let them run their course. Okay, let them flow through you. Let the clouds pass through this space. Okay, you're just this. And if you can stay in that space more often, you're going to feel more settled, content, less reactive, because you're becoming mindful now. You're turning on mindfulness, which again separates you from these clouds, these sensations, these symptoms. If you focus in and hone in on the sensation or the pain or the feeling, what you're doing is you're becoming the cloud. Unfortunately, you're in this cloud. It's very murky. You can't see straight. There's a lot of turbulence when you're in the middle of a cloud, like in an airplane. So you want to come out of the cloud, become this open space that allows the clouds to pass through it. I've talked about this before, but I just wanted to remind you guys that some people are getting stuck by focusing too intently on their symptoms, and what they're doing is they're zooming in, hypervigilance it's called, and they're intensifying and trapping that symptom here. Okay, and they need to zoom out and hold, just be still, just be quiet. And in the stillness, you'll see that these things in your thing just fizzle out and they start to dissolve in the space that you've created for it. So I hope this makes sense, guys. This is an actual practice, and it's what we intertwine with the somatic practices that you've been doing, I've been teaching. It's just another piece of it that you want to make sure you're doing so you can be successful when you're doing it. All right, I'll talk to you guys later.